Greetings, friends, and Firebirds fans, and welcome to the Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. Fire and Ice, the official podcast of your Coachella Valley Firebirds of the American Hockey League, coming to you from Palm Desert, California. A mere Logan Morrison, Rookie of the Year vote away from the Birds' home ice of Acrisure Arena. I'm your host, Judd Spicer. Along with this bi-monthly endeavor, also, again, have the privilege and the pleasure of serving as your Firebirds Insider across this sophomore season. Those Firebirds Insider articles, I might add, may be found online at cvfirebirds.com. That's your home. That's your hub for all things Firebirds, including, but certainly not limited to, roster, merchandise, ticketing information. Might I also suggest downloading the handy CV Firebirds application on your mobile phone. Great way to get tickets for all things Firebirds and everything happening at Acrisure Arena. Oh, and per those Firebirds Insider articles, thought you might enjoy the most recent, came out maybe a week and change back. Dan Bilesma, CV Firebirds head coach, not just bookish in appearance alone, the bespectacled one, also an avid reader and an accomplished writer, by the way, for those that didn't know. He and his dad, Jay Bilesma, have co-written 4 books together. Outside Dan's office, he has a select bookshelf of titles, a lot of motivation, a lot of inspiration, a lot of sporting books. Had the pleasure to do an article, about Dan's bookshelf, again, right outside his office. Kind of a library, stuff available for checkout for players, coaches, staff alike. Also pleased to report that article did get picked up by AHL.com. As far as the presenting sponsor of this endeavor, the aforementioned Desert Willow Golf Resort right here in sunny Palm Desert. You can get your tee times online for either the Mountain View or Firecliff courses, desertwillow.com. I was actually just over there last week getting a sunset 9. Peak season, conditions are prime. Might I also suggest checking out the awesome and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy. Great place to go, the place to go for your swing study and golf tutelage. All right, dudes, joining me on this episode of the Fire and Ice podcast, actually making his debut. Kind of slipped through the fingers. Have never had forward Kole Lind on the Fire and Ice podcast before. He is the Birds' leading scorer thus far into the season. Look forward to visiting with Kole shortly. In the interim, a brief digression, as I am wont to do. Let's just take a step back for this episode's Firebirds Freeze Frame segment, and a lot of positivity report, a lot of flow, a lot of momentum, a lot of good things happening for the first place Coachella Valley Firebirds, now with a record of 33, 13, 5, and 3. That's 74 total points on the season. 54 games down, a mere 18 to go. That point total, by the way, not just best in the pack, but also best in the entire Western Conference, of which we are, of course, the defending champions. This surge, and I can't even say this surge of late because it's basically been going on through all of the 2024 calendar year. So this standing comes by way of points earned by the Firebirds in 17 of the past 18 games. Boys have been on a great run of late as we start getting near the home stretch. Maybe we're already in the home stretch. As mentioned, just 18 games to go. That's 74 points. Second to only, our old friends, the Hershey Bears. Second best in the AHL, Hershey with 86 points. Again, Firebirds with 74 points. If you check out AHL.com, by the way, which I want to do, they've now got the playoff primer on there. As of this recording, the Birds' magic number is 15 to qualify for the playoffs. That's not going to be any sort of problem. What we do want to certainly focus on is finishing this second season in first place. Of course, with that first place standing in the Pac Division comes a first round playoff bye. I think that's something that we would all appreciate, something that we would all decidedly enjoy, skipping right into the second round of the playoffs. All right, friends, moving on to the schedule for our CB Firebirds, and it's a little weird. Said that throughout the course of the entire season. It's almost a little aberrant. Birds currently on the road, which is very thematic for March. Coachella Valley with just 3 home games the entire month. On the road currently in San Diego, so the boys not far away. Did get the point on Wednesday, March 6th against the Gulls, day off, and then get right back at it Friday, March 8th, again against San Diego. That puck drop is at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Then back-to-back, the latter end of the back-to-back, returning to Acrisure Arena this Saturday, March 9th, against the Tucson Roadrunners. Tucson currently in third place. Might I also add, it's Fuego's birthday night. I think that there's a stuffed toy that comes with that. Not sure exactly how many people get it. Although I know if you don't have any kids, the dogs love a stuffed Fuego. You can just ask my guy, Archie, about that. Still a little stuffing left in my Fuego. Fuego's birthday night, Saturday, March 9th. And then, as I said, aberrant schedule. A lot of days off. The Birds have then just one game in the next 10 days between March 10th and March 19th. That one game, also not far away, albeit on the road in Ontario. That is Friday, March 15th, 7 p.m. puck drop. Boys then get back at it here in Palm Desert Wednesday, March 20th against the Texas Stars. That's the upcoming schedule. Again, just 3 home games taking place for CV in the month of March. As for the Birds' leading scorers, Kole Lind, saying his name twice. We'll say it again here when we visit with him shortly. He is your Coachella Valley leader with 48 points thus far into the season. That's 11 goals coupled with a team-high 37 assists. That 48-point total thus far for Cole, tied for 8th in the entire American Hockey League, while those 37 assists are 3rd in the AHL. Right behind Cole, Captain Max McCormick, 44 points on the season, a team-high 24 goals, coupled with 20 assists. Those 24 goals, I might add, tied for 4th in the league. Cameron Hughes, 42 points thus far into the season, 16 goals, 26 assists. Andrew Podorowski, also with 42 points, matching 12 goals with 30 assists. Young Logan Morrison, continuing his excellent rookie season, 38 points thus far into the year, 14 goals and 24 assists. Right behind him, fellow rookie Shane Wright, also having a great year for the Firebirds, 34 points thus far into the year, 19 goals and 15 assists. Between the pipes, Chris Drieger, now 16, 6, and 5 for the Birds on the year, 2.27 goals against. That is good for 5th in the American Hockey League, while his save percentage of .917, tied for 9th in the AHL. All right, Firebirds friends, all that offered, all that prefaced. Let's get to this episode's visit with CV forward Kole Lind. All right, Firebirds friends. As prefaced, my guest on this episode of the Fire and Ice podcast, he's a 25-year-old native. Let's see if I butcher the name of his hometown. I want to call it Shaunavon. Let's see if I need a clarification there. Shaunavon, Saskatchewan, 33rd overall pick in the 2017 draft by the Vancouver Canucks. He is your Coachella Valley Firebirds points leader through 54 games. We welcome forward Kole Lind to the Fire and Ice podcast. Hello, Cole.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, you nailed it. Shaunavon, dead on.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of an on-air clarification, whether it be a live or pre-recorded. Fear not. I'm sure I'll screw up something before we're all said and done here, whether it be a pronunciation or otherwise. Cole is in San Diego right now, where the Birds are between a couple of games with the San Diego Gulls. And the Birds continue to play well, man. Let's start kind of big and broad with 18 games, just 18 games left to go. CV with points in 17 of the past 18 games since we've turned the calendar to 2024, Cole. It's been a lot of good Coachella Valley Firebirds hockey, sir.
Yeah. I think we didn't really start the year that we exactly wanted to and pictured. I think there were some early season struggles as a group, and I think with new players and some new lines and new chemistry, and it just being the beginning of a hockey season, I think there's always some learning to do. And I think with all of that, we've we've gelled really well as a team, and I think we've obviously gone on a pretty good run here for the last little bit, and are definitely building our game up for playoffs.
Yeah. What particularly have you seen gel over the past couple months? Anything specific that you see really working from your vantage on the ice?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just consistency in our lineup. I think we've had a lot of guys up and down, injured, whatnot. And it's good to, have consistent lines and play with the same players for most of the games. Then another thing that I think is very key for our team is just the buy-in in general. Everyone definitely has their own roles, sorry,
Sure.
and I think that's something that guys have definitely grown into and understand where they're at and what they need to bring on a nightly basis, and that's been really good to see.
Speaking of roles, what have you seen historically now in your second year with the Firebirds, and what do you see now as your role?
Uh yeah, for me, I think the biggest thing is just kind of making plays and being an offensive player and trying to be a threat to score every time I'm on the ice. I'm definitely still trying to build my game to be a full 200-foot player and be trusted in all situations. But I definitely see myself as a guy who can score or make the play to a guy to have a real good chance to score. So it all just comes with it. I think obviously I like to mix it up a little bit too after the whistles, and I think that's just my game. I kind of just bring it on all different levels.
I think I asked your teammate, the youngster Jacob Melanson, last month. I said that he's got a habit in a good way of getting under opponents' skin. And I don't know if he's taken a page out of the Kole Lind book, because that's something that we learned about you in your game last year. A very effective way that you play, and we've seen it again this year. Sometimes it can be subtle, I think, the way that you do it, but it's something that you undoubtedly do on the ice. You have a habit of doing that. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me especially, it gets me more engaged in the game, more involved. Um, Obviously, I'm into every single game and want to win as much as the next guy. But when I do have that little bit of edge and I'm bringing that frustration to the other team and you know being the pest out there, that's definitely something that I seem to play my best when I'm doing that uh, during the games.
Something I neglected to ask Jacob Melanson as a proper follow-up. So I'll ask you, is that a trait that you carry over off the ice? Are you a pest? Do you get under people's skin off the ice, or is that simply when you're
Oh
down in
yeah,
pads?
yeah, big time. I think no matter what I'm doing, I just seem to be a pest. Whether it's just stirring the pot between like a subtle mix up between a few guys in the dressing room. I'm definitely just trying to stir the pot, and I'm playing cards or whatever it is. I'm always trying to just throw a subtle jab or needle in at another guy and just make it sting a little more.
Well, I'm going to ask you in a few minutes here if that's something that also extends to your family. I'm going to hold off on that, but we'll get to the Kole Lind roots and the family. Definitely some interesting things to talk about. But sticking with the Firebirds and sticking with you, I mean, it's a bit of a different season for Kole Lind, at least statistically. I don't know if you get caught up a lot in the metrics and the stats. I mean, you have already surpassed, you can almost say far surpassed your career best in assists, your 37 assists. You played 52 games. The Birds have played 54 games, as I mentioned before. 37 assists, that bests your 32 that you had of all of last year. You are third in the American Hockey League in assist goal. Concurrently, I mean, last year, these are the numbers. The numbers speak for themselves, man. What'd
Yeah,
you put up last year? 30 goals last year. This year you have 11 goals. And again, last year you had 32 assists. So we're seeing a little different statistical line for Kole Lind this year, last year to this
yeah.
year. How do you explain the difference?
I don't really know. I think maybe it's a little bit to go along with the guys that I play with. I think obviously Potsy is a real good playmaker, and I think I see Potsy, especially as a goal scorer, and Max is pretty much a pure goal scorer himself. So um, that might have been part of the reason why I've taken a step back in the goals total. I think a little bit this year I've taken that extra second to maybe look to see if there's a play available. Where last year I would shoot. Um, and yeah, I think my game maybe has transitioned a little bit more into a pass first guy. Um, but I'm definitely going out there trying to score every single game. Obviously the puck just hasn't gone in near as much as it has as last year for me. But I'm still happy with assists and more importantly wins more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe by virtue, you tell me, of being now in I want to say your sixth year of professional hockey, the way that the word that you used was transition. Your game is transition. Your game has grown. You've grown. I'm sure that you see the ice a little bit different than you did 5 or 6 years ago. For you, are you comfortable in that realm? Everybody, wants to score goals, and all the forwards want to score goals. But for you, having a season where you're more of a distributor, at least thus far, and effectively so. I mean, are you cozy with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I said, uh, just before, as long as it's ending in wins, I'll do whatever it takes more than anything. And obviously that has worked out for us the last little while. We're on, like I said, a real good run here. But yeah, no matter how the puck goes in the net, as long as we score more goals than the other team, I think that's something that I'm definitely comfortable with. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to see, where the end of the season takes us here.
Certainly get to that in a moment as well. One more Kole Lind number that jumped out to me, at least for regular season games in the American Hockey League. This is coupled with your 31 career games in the NHL. Regular season AHL, you're soon to hit a benchmark here, Kole Lind. We've got 296 regular season games in the American Hockey League. Very much trust you'll hit 300 games before this month is out. Is that something you pay attention to, those kind of things?
Yeah, a little bit. I had hit my 300th pro game not too long ago, and lucky enough for myself, my wife had got me some balloons back at the house, some 300 balloons, and my dog was there with a little present for me. So it's something that's definitely cool. And yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, you just kind of comes with experience. You see the ice a little bit different, I think, than I did in my first 100 games or my second 100 games. But yeah, I'm obviously hoping for a long, healthy career here, and that's just kind of a stepping stone along the way.
Uh, Begs a few follow-ups, man. A 300 balloon. Do they make a 300 balloon, or did your wife have to like Sharpie
Yeah, it was
that?
a 3-0. It was a 3, a 0, and a 0. So
Like it was a 30 and she wrote an extra zero, or it actually came?
no, she bought like the helium like ones that you get for your birthday, and then just
Yeah.
bought an extra 0, I guess. So
Ah, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And your dog, you said, had a present for you?
Yeah,
Oh,
just something small. I got a little bit of an addiction to maybe some treats or something like that. So he had a little bag for me when I got home, obviously from the wife and him. But yeah, it was definitely special for sure.
friends, you're tuning in to the Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. My guest is forward Kole Lind of Coachella Valley Firebirds. Obviously, he is the team's leading scorer through 54 games with just 18 to be played. Does that sound weird to you, Kole? Just 18 games left? It feels to me all of a sudden like, wow, we're really in the home stretch now.
Yeah, absolutely. It really seems like this season, especially, has flown by. I think with how the beginning of last year went and us being in the hotel and then moving down in November, maybe I felt that it would feel a little bit longer this year with getting down to the desert that couple months earlier. But man, living the life in Coachella Valley and being able to represent the whole valley and go out there and play and golf and just be in the community has been real special. And I think with all that, having fun just seems to pass the time even quicker.
Yeah, of course we won't see you guys in the Coachella Valley much in the month of March. This month of March, the AHL schedule, Cole, I described it earlier in this program as is aberrant. It is just sometimes weird how the AHL schedule lays out. I'm curious if you agree with me. Like you guys have this road trip, then you come back, you play Tucson here on Saturday night, and then you just have one game in a 10-day stretch. We've seen a couple other strange things like this across the course of the season, but as we're nearing kind of the finish line, just to have one game in 10 days, doesn't that strike you as kind of odd?
It's weird for sure. I think it's a time where guys that maybe are a little banged up will have a chance to get back to full health right before the playoffs. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for us. Obviously, staying sharp and being game ready is going to be a key for us during that little break. But yeah, just to get a little break will definitely benefit us, I think, in the long run.
Could do a couple personal things about Kole Lind as I prefaced before. Shaunavon, we know that I got that right. Do I get this part right as well? In Saskatchewan, this much we know. It's a farming community, yes, sir? Namely a
Yes, sir.
farming
Yep.
community? Okay.
Yeah, mainly a farming community. I mean, the whole province is very farm based, and especially around my hometown. I think, I mean, basically every family you meet down there, probably has a farm.
Including the Lind family, yes?
We do, yes.
What kind of farm is it?
We're strictly grain. Um, it's a farm about 10,000 acres, so pretty big farm. My dad's grandpa, great uncle, and a few hired hands help them out during the harvest and seeding. And I don't do enough out there for sure. With how the last summer was, especially, I kind of missed the whole thing. So it was weird, but I definitely need to get out there a little more and get my helping hands in there.
When you were a kid growing up, along with your siblings, whom we'll reference here in just a moment, but when you were a kid, were you pretty helpful on the farm?
Yeah, I would say I was more helpful as a kid than I have been the last few years of my life for sure. Um, we would go out there, mow the lawn. Um, Usually we lived in town, so we'd just kind of walk home. Obviously my hometown's only about 1,800 people, so I think there's like 10 stop signs in the whole community maybe. Um, but yeah, we would take the bus out to the farm after days to meet up with my mom and dad and give them a helping hand, or just be a voice to sit by them on the combine or on the grain truck or whatever it was. But definitely got out there quite a bit as a kid.
Did that kind of upbringing, did that kind of work ethic instilled in you? Farming is hard. I mean, it's
Yeah.
as listeners know, and as I may have told you before, I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota, but in the Twin Cities, one only needs to drive 20 miles in a couple different directions, and you're basically in farmland. One of the great things about the Twin
Yeah.
Cities. So I've got friends that grew up in a more rural environment, and a lot of them, their adulthood was informed by that. Their work ethic was informed by that. Is that what it did for you in your pro hockey career?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely played a part in it. I think my parents in general and grandparents and my whole family have done a real good job of, making us hard workers, hard, honest workers. And at the same time, they put us in situations to succeed a lot of the time too, which definitely helped us. Obviously, we needed to grow up and learn from the losses as well. But we were always in situations where we seemed, we were in a good spot to be.
When you say us, when you use some of those pronouns, I trust that you're referring to your siblings. I think that you
Yeah,
have three. Correct me if I'm wrong. And if I'm correct on the three, I believe they're all excellent hockey players as well.
yeah, oh yeah. I think our whole family was a big hockey family growing up. My parents didn't really play too much hockey throughout their lives. My mom not at all, and my dad just played a little bit of junior. But other than that, nothing from them, which is quite surprising, seeing as where I'm at. My sister played Canadian University hockey. My younger sister was the captain at St. Cloud for the NCAA women's hockey team there, and my little brother is playing junior for the Red Deer Rebels up in Canada in junior, and is a draft pick of the Predators. So I kind of gave you a little rundown of what my family is, and yeah, I mean it's an incredible spot to be in, and I'm very proud of my siblings for sure.
Yeah, and your brother, not just any draft pick, a rather high draft pick last year from Nashville. I think he was the 46th overall pick in the NHL draft. His name is Kale Lind, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay. Who's better at hockey, you or your brother?
man, that's tough to say. I think I still have the upper hand right now, but obviously I think I've got 7 odd years on him also. So that definitely plays a little bit into it. He was definitely, like, if we go by age of where we were at certain situations of our life in minor hockey, he was definitely the better player. And he's had a little bit of injury trouble and whatnot in junior here this year, so he hasn't fully kind of gotten his groove, but still having a solid season for himself. And I know he'll find his way. It's always good to kind of put someone under your wing and have them learn from you. And he stays with me in the summertime, and I tried to put him in the best situations he could be in to succeed, kind of like my parents. And yeah, I trust that his game is definitely going to take big steps towards the NHL here soon.
There's one thing that you could tell your little brother of your experience in professional hockey that you think would really serve him well. What might that one thing be, Cole?
Uh, that's a good question. Um, I would say that patience is a virtue in these situations. I think everyone kind of just expects from junior to just kind of step in and be ready, and a really good American League player and a fringe NHL player, but a lot goes into it, and just being patient and trying to work on having a well-rounded game will definitely, I think, help him in the long run, especially. Um, every team has a great goal scorer, a great playmaker, and whatnot. I think there are other parts of your game that you definitely need to build to be able to prove and fill in a role in the NHL.
Cole, you ever seen Youngblood?
I have.
Okay, because there's some parallels happening with the Kole Lind narrative and the story of Dean Youngblood from 1986, starring Rob Lowe. Now, when I grew up, this was like required watching. I
Yep.
can't tell how many times with you, but Youngblood, of course, he grew up on a farm. He went, through junior hockey, and he had his dream to play in the NHL. Uh, and the Kole Lind story, we're seeing a lot of parallels here. Grew up on the
Yeah.
farm. You've played professional hockey in upstate New York across here. I think it was 4 seasons with the Utica Comets. But you have seen. Do you see any familiarity? I mean, Rob Lowe, good hair.
Absolutely.
Kole Lind, good hair. I mean, the parallels they're myriad. But have you ever thought of that,
Yeah.
dude? You're young blood.
I never have, and I never have, and that's pretty funny that you bring that up, because I have watched that movie definitely more than a handful of times probably, and I've never really thought of it that way. And now the next time I watch it, I'll definitely have to pay more attention and kind of just see the similarities between us, because obviously, like you said, it is very similar to my upbringing for sure.
when you watch it again, also keep your eyes out for Keanu Reeves. I think that might be his first ever movie appearance. Don't
Wow.
quote me on that, but I know that there's Keanu
Okay.
Reeves and, of course, Patrick Swayze. The other thing, of course, when you watch it again, Youngblood, he falls for the coach's daughter. That's kind of like a side story. You're already married, though, so that
Yeah.
is, we can X out that parallel.
Yeah.
A couple more to close out with Kole Lind here on the Fire and Ice podcast. The 18 games remaining, we now have a magic number. You guys are in first place. Obviously, it's been a great round. We want to get that first round bye for the Birds. See some things in this team, Cole, that give me a lot of confidence that this year's squad, this sophomore season of Firebirds hockey, is built for the playoffs in some very
Yeah.
specific ways. Do you see that as well? And if so, what are some of the specific things that give you a lot of confidence that this team is built for a playoff run?
Yeah. I agree with you there on us being built for playoffs. I think just like I said before, our well-roundedness and the way our team buys in, it's definitely more of a playoff style. This year, you don't see us beating teams 7-1, 8-1 every night. But we win tight hockey games a lot of the time. And we have a lot of clutch goal scorers. It seems like it's never really the same guy every time. So that is just a testament to, how good our lineup is up and down the ice. I think our decor and goalies are the best in the league. And then the deepness of our forward group is up there for sure with the best in the league. You get to see a guy like Devin Shore, John Hayden, and Marion Student each on a line. That's a ton of NHL experience for us. And them being on a line together is great to watch. They're a good shutdown, but they do a real good job of grinding other teams down and kind of creating opportunities on their own. I think every line is very, very offensively dynamic when you look at it in the long run, for sure.
Yeah, the name Devin Shore certainly has jumped out to me. I mean, we mentioned the points in 17 of 18. It basically mirrors and coincides with Devin Shore's return to the Firebirds. He's been back for like 13, 14 games. When I see the guy on the ice and look, this guy's played with Jamie Benn, he's played with Connor McDavid, with Leon Draisaitl. I mean, you can see that NHL experience. His vision, his spacing. It seems like the game kind of slows down for him. He's not scoring a ton of goals, but he doesn't need to. His presence, his passing on the ice.
Absolutely.
It feels like to me that what Devin Shore has brought since his return has been a huge part of this recent run.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, his presence, he just seems calm at all times. He's never in a rush to make a play. He's always getting his head up and making sure it's a crispy pass. And I don't think I've ever seen a guy pick up more offline passes or bobbling pucks in my life than he does. He does such a good job of supporting his wingers and making everyone around him look good. And that's something that's, like you said, is very, very calming for not only him, but everyone on the ice.
Bring it back to you for this last one, Kole Lind. You mentioned, the playoffs. We talked about that. Still a little ways off. But last year's Calder Cup playoffs saw a lot of Kole Lind in those 26 games, 9 goals and 22 assists, 31 total points. He had a lot of big moments in that playoff run for the Firebirds, Cole. As we get there again in this second season, certainly be looking to you as somebody to step into the spotlight in those big moments. Why are you suited for that? Why do you enjoy that? What more do you get out of yourself in those moments?
Man, I love winning. I think that's the biggest thing. And I think that's not just me, that's our whole team. We are a very competitive group, and it's not only just with hockey. I think it's with everything I do. I really do hate to lose and love to win. So I think just for me, it's not about, trying to do too much or anything like that. It's just what I can bring on a nightly basis to, put our team over the top and eventually, be called a cup champions.
whether it be goals, whether it be assists. Just enjoy watching you play, man. Enjoy all that you bring to Coachella Valley and the Firebirds, man. Keep up this great streak, Cole. We'll look forward to having the Birds back here at Acrisure Arena this Saturday night, 6 p.m. puck drop versus the Tucson Roadrunners. Go get them in San Diego tomorrow night. Thank you for your time, my man.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, Firebirds flock, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Fire and Ice podcast. So appreciative of your time, your interest, your ears, your ongoing support of this endeavor. You know, I've had more than a few people ask me in recent months, how's the show doing? How's it performing? I don't personally get too lost in the numbers and the minutia of the podcast world, but since several people asked, happy to report it's doing quite well. Downloads in 25 countries. And last time I checked, 34 different states across our great union. Generally, when a new show comes out, pops into the top 100 hockey podcasts across the United States. Additional thanks, of course, goes to this episode's guest, forward Kole Lind, CV leading scorer thus far into the season. And added appreciation, as always, goes to the presenting sponsor of this endeavor, Desert Willow Golf Resort. Get your tee times online for either the Firecliff or Mountain View courses. Again, it's just over there in recent days, if not last week. Course is in fantastic peak season shape. If you're looking for some swing lessons, some golf tutelage, by the way, you should also check out the excellent and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy. Dudes at Desert Willow, worthy of note. They love them some Firebirds, by the way. Season ticket holders in the inaugural year and also this year. So, heck, you might see one of those DW boys at the game over at Acrisure Arena, or you might see me at the game. That'll, of course, take place next this Saturday, March 9th. Fuego's birthday, 6 p.m. puck drop against the Tucson Roadrunners. Hope you see you at the Birds Barn of Acrisure Arena. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. And remember, as always, one valley, one team, rising together.